What is up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Alarm Fantasy Football. We thank you for joining us here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page. Please be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, stay in tune with everything that we got going on right here on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page, as well as fantasyalarm.com. It's kind of like an oh baby moment.
Oh baby.
Come on.
I got the alarm going today, dog. Let's go. All black,
See
everything. Get the black watch on. What's up now?
Right. For everybody out there, if you're looking for some Fantasy Alarm gear, go to fantasyalarmstore.com and get
Hats are
yourself.
dope.
There it is.
New hats. The old hats I like the old hats, but the new hats are better. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I did like the old hats, no doubt about it. Mine are so worn out and so busted up. Like that's one right in the middle there. But either way, you know what? It's the holiday gift that the fantasy sports enthusiast in your life needs. So doll them up. We got hoodies, we got pint glasses, t-shirts, hats, stickers, you name it. We got it over there. But I'm not here to shill, roto-wear to you.
You're my favorite hat salesman, Howard.
This is no haberdashery here.
Haberdasher.
So no, we won't be doing it. We're here to help you guys guide your way through to the fantasy football playoffs. It's NFL Week 13. Yesterday we did a waiver wire show. We'll obviously continue with some waiver wire talk here today because some teams, some leagues, they do waivers on Wednesday night like they're supposed to do. It's not always Tuesday night rush for Yahoo and ESPN. So we'll cover all of that. Your lineup questions, get them into the chat 100%. Coop and I go over the NFL news and give you some of our thoughts on players that you're going to end up needing this week. 6 teams on a bye, lots going on. So we're going to have you 100% covered here. So, Coop, I know you just came off of doing the quick outs with John. You guys went through game by game, giving your thoughts here and there. What stood out the most to you?
I mean, the thing that stood out the most to me is this. I'm really, really excited about this Texans team because I start looking at, especially the passing attack. I start looking at the schedule here, and it's just a big pass funnel all the way down, right? So this week versus Denver should be a good week, but down the stretch, they're facing a team like the Titans twice. DVOA, one of the worst teams in DVOA versus the pass, one of the best versus the run, good versus the tight end. It should be great for some of our guys. Maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later when we get to some of our guys that we're hoping to become league winners. But yeah, that game on the slate here, and then there are some pretty ugly ones, man, that I wish could be flexed. Like I wish they could. I wish they could flex out this Bengals game. Like rough game, and I don't. Are you even going to watch the Jets-Falcons game this week, Howard, as a Jets?
I mean, listen, it's always in the mix. I'm never going to seek out watching the Jets-Falcons game, but, as somebody who does have the Jaguars defense and was just talking to somebody on Twitter about the Jaguars defense, well, I've got some high expectations for Monday Night Football. So, let me have that. If you're not going to give me proper football from my team, then at least let me enjoy Monday Night Football with the Jags as my teams just hammer the victories as the Jags continue to pile up points.
I'm a 2 TV. So what I like to do for football is I have the 2 TVs, big TV, and then the second TV, and I'll put Red Zone on one, and then I'll put a game on the other, and then on my iPad I keep all my notes and stuff for the hot takes and stuff like that. And there you go, dude. Big day, baby. So the that's for my iPad rests. So
Burns, I don't think that sound means what you think it is.
So but historically it would always be the Patriots on the other TV, right? But I mean, recently with these games, the way they've been, I look at it and I'm like, am I going to watch the Patriots, get beat by a Chargers team that kind of stinks, or am I going to watch Miami and Washington just chuck it football, right? So I don't know. These days it's hard to the second TV has kind of become the shootout TV rather than the Patriots TV. It's a sad state of affairs, Howard.
So it's definitely a sad state of affairs. I can understand that. For me, it's like in my command center here during it, right? Like I've got above here, like I got 2 monitors right here. And above that, on a swivel, I've got another a flat screen.
Oh,
So I pop that flat screen up there, and I've got Red Zone on there. And then on these screens here, I stream in like the local games that are on like Xfinity and then my YouTube package. So I have all the games there, and I literally just sit there and click through to change the sound up. Everything's like tied into the sound here in the shed. So, I end up like muting the Red Zone and then popping around from game to game.
So you're like that robot guy JB and Grandma's Boy, just like fire the missiles, right? You got like you got the whole command center set up.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You got the metal legs going, dude.
He can see me. Yes. So that's listen, that's what we got going on here. It's what we do. It's what we need. So yes, Jets game will be on by default. So let's talk through a couple of things. What we will do is, I'm gonna talk about some chat stuff here because we got some QB news in there, and our friend George was here in the chat even before the show started. Right. So he's got a question that's QB related also. So I want to kind of dive into that, but we'll also be talking about players who's, we think they're going to turn around their season. They've struggled throughout the year, but could in fact prove to be a league winner. And I'm talking like, my guys are like, early round busts, and there are a ton of marquee names there. Coop dove in a little bit deeper because, listen, he's a seasoned pro. He knows what needs to happen. Sometimes I like to just play the hits. Coop does the down and dirty look in there. So we will do that, but let's get to George's question in the chat right off the bat here and throw that down. It was he's got Tua and he's got Fields right on the bench, but he doesn't trust him too much. He's also worried about Miami's schedule for the playoffs. Should I pick up Rodgers? So cringy right now. Like, sorry, but it's so. They opened up the 3-week window, the 21-day window for Aaron Rodgers to be activated to the roster. He's not going to join the team unless the Jets win these next 3 games. They have to win. They have to run the table. And I don't even know exactly who they're playing for I know it's Atlanta this week, so they have to beat Atlanta at home. Then they have to host the Texans and be able to try and stop that group. And then they've got the Dolphins
in Miami
for the final game there. So in Miami, do we really genuinely think that the Jets are going to win these 3 and stay in the playoff hunt? They've lost 4 in a row right now.
Can't do it.
Thank you.
Your reward, if that does all happen, and if that inexplicably happens, then your reward will be to be able to start a 10-man Aaron Rodgers in championship week of your fantasy season against the Cleveland Browns.
Right. Behind an offensive line that's broken.
So good luck with that, man. Yeah, not even in Superflex, I don't think I'm going to use a roster spot unless it's one of those like crazy deep leagues where, every single player is rostered. Nobody ever hits the wire ever. Then maybe, I guess, like Scott Fishbowl, yeah, sure. Throw Aaron Rodgers on your bench, whatever. But like in the vast majority of leagues, even 2 QB leagues, I just can't imagine a world where I say I'm gonna rest my championship hopes on this guy coming off a torn Achilles tendon that he tore this season.
Yeah. And you know what? And for those of you who are like looking at Miami's schedule, listen,
pretty rough. But
Commanders here and then the Titans. So those are 2 soft, squishy matchups there. I'm sorry, but this matchup against the Jets, it ain't so bad. Like, we just sat there and watched the Jets get picked apart. Like, their secondary just got beaten up, did it not? Like, am I on glue? Did I not just see the Jets secondary get picked apart? You know that if you just don't throw at Sauce Gardner, you're fine. The middle of the field, the slot receiver, the tight end.
Right, 100 yards for both wide receivers for the Dolphins, right, against this team. Not to mention, here's what happens a lot of times. The problem is for fantasy-wise is when it's 2 teams that have good defenses and bad offenses, right? But when you have these teams with good defenses that go up against each other and they have good offenses, those games actually end up being pretty good for fantasy. The Cowboys played the Eagles. Those are 2 good defenses. 51 points were scored, right? The Eagles and the Bills, 80 points were scored in that game. right? Like a lot of times you just want to have good players on good teams playing good teams, right? The worst, even worse is when it's just like a complete blowout. Like when you look at when the 49ers played the Cardinals, it wasn't even a real game. Christian McCaffrey scored 3 touchdowns. Nobody else got the ball. I think George Kittle had 1 catch. Like that's the worst case scenario, right? Like Brock Purdy did nothing, everyone else did nothing. You know, same thing with the Bengals played the Cardinals. Jamar Chase had 3 touchdowns. No one else did a damn thing. So you could do a lot worse. That's what
you don't think that Miami's going to be throwing against Dallas?
Have to, right?
Right. And it doesn't even matter. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter if your guy, throws an interception or 2. The points, that you lose for that are not, horrible. And you know what? Deron Bland can have a pick 6 against him, and it doesn't affect him any differently than a regular interception. Who gives a crap?
It's even better. Oh, it's pick 6s are better for fantasy.
And overthink it. They overthink it so much towards the tail end, like just assuming that this is a great team and this is a great defense, and they're going to end up shutting them down. Like you're missing out on opportunities by even entertaining the idea of going with Aaron Rodgers in the most crucial time of your year.
Yeah. If your quarterback throws an interception, you want it to be a pick 6 because now you get the ball right back
on the field,
and you have to throw, right? It's actually good for your quarterback. It's how we got Jameis Winston to throw 30-something touchdowns when he was throwing 30 picks. Like it's how we got Blake Bortles. Like, it's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
Matt Schaub.
So stay away from the Aaron Rodgers situation. Don't take up a roster spot. You've got Fields and you've got Tua. I mean, I'm perfectly fine using both of those guys. Both of them.
Now people are going to be scared to ask us questions, Howard, because we just jumped all over George.
It's
not a crazy question, George. It's not a crazy question.
It's not to me, it's a crazy question because you're putting your trust into, it's just a name. Like this dude came out where he tore his Achilles. He doesn't have mobility, or at least really good mobility. So why would you take away like a rushing quarterback like Justin Fields, or a quarterback in one of the most high scoring potent offenses for what? Rodgers is not like, that's just that, like, I'm sorry. I mean, it's not, I'm not trying to rail on him for this, but it to me, yes, there are no stupid questions, but that's a dumb question.
It's not gonna look like the Aaron Rodgers that scrambles around and makes plays. It would look like, if he does play, it's gonna look like Byron Leftwich at Marshall, getting carried up and down the field.
You're getting 2007 Aaron Rodgers here.
You're gonna get last year Ben Roethlisberger with a time to release of 1 second. 1 second time to release. Shotgun every play, 1 second time to release, and every ball is going to be thrown to Randall Cobb.
It's brutal. We have more QB questions here. Ethan Batterman in the house. Geno, Levis, Minshew, or Browning?
I mean, you can't start Jake Browning under any circumstances.
No, you cannot. You cannot. I actually don't mind Minshew in this against the Titans, knowing that there's no Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, they got Zach Moss, but I still think that Minshew up against this secondary, to me, seems like the better matchup than trusting in Geno, who deserves a punch in the face every time he steps out onto the field.
Yeah, I have, in my rankings, I have Minshew ranked much higher than the rest of these guys. I have Browning at there's 26 teams playing this week. I have Browning at 25. An argument could be made that Ritter versus the Jets could be worse. I have Tim Boyle last. But
Tim Boyle, put Mac Jones last.
I have Bailey Zappi in the rankings right now.
Well, you better put those suckers last, dude, because you don't even know who's going to play the whole game.
Truly, yeah. But I looked at it and I was ranking the quarterbacks as the last position I ranked yesterday, Howard, and I got to this bottom part with Bailey Zappi and Desmond Ritter and Jake Browning and Tim Boyle, and I went and opened the eggnog in the rum. And had the first eggnog of the season, and then I finished my rankings, and then I looked through them, and then I looked through them after having eggnog and realized I didn't realize till this morning I didn't rank Devonta Smith. So rankings need to be fully completed before the eggnog comes out. But
you got the right Brian Robinson in there?
I did this morning.
Nice.
This morning. I missed it yesterday, to be honest. So
Coop.
I know, Howard. I'm a big
you're
trouble.
drunk. I knew it.
Now the rankings are up and they're good. Minshew we like this week. I think I have him. I have him at 14.
He's sitting in the watch list. I was in on him last week too, and I like him this week as well. Ann Dunn's in the house. What's up, Ann? Ethan also says somebody drop Young Ho Koo, have Aubrey, but never get the kicker puzzle right. Because you keep flipping kickers, thinking that you're going to be able to figure out the guy who's going to kick 4 field goals that day. Just stick with one guy. I'm more than happy to stick with Koo. If you want to pick up Koo, because Atlanta is not a team that gets into the end zone all that often. They sputter out enough times that Koo gets some decent field goal chances.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Koo. I'm fine with Aubrey. Just keep one and just leave it there.
Aubrey, go with Aubrey, man. Aubrey's my number 1 ranked kicker this week. He's Linda's number 1 ranked kicker this week. He's going up against the Seahawks. Just don't tinker with it. I honestly, if I have Aubrey, I'm not even thinking about kicker. I'm putting him in the kicker spot, and then I'm just living my life.
Yeah. You're playing a useless game here. It's like chasing defenses. You just keep chasing the you're chasing the extra field goals, which listen, are about as predictable as thinking which defense is going to score that touchdown for you.
Yep, bingo.
Rex Timotheus, Bijan cover boy. I've managed to avoid him until this week. You're damn right. He's my cover boy.
Yeah, let's go, baby. We're back. Maybe we should get into those. So should we clear the deck on the chat, or should we get into those the players we think are going to turn it around down the stretch here?
Listen, I can obviously just go right there with Bijan Robinson. I mean, did you see how effortless it looked for him to score those touchdowns?
So good, bro.
And he really is, and he rips off big yardage when he's used. Now, yes, is it troubling to know whether or not Arthur Smith is going to screw us again? Yes, it is very troubling to know. However, if you look at what Arthur Smith did last year, okay, towards the tail end of the season, you look at Tyler Algier. He was never like the bell cow back until they got back from like their week 14 bye. Right. And then all of a sudden it was like carry after carry after carry after carry. And Tyler Algier just got so much volume towards the tail end. And I do believe that is part of Arthur Smith's philosophy. And one of the reasons why, remember, like Derrick Henry was like a beast in the second half, is that they just like to pound the run late because they think in the cold weather and all of that it's easier to wear down a defensive line when you've got a bruising back who just powers through. So I do like Bijan, and I do think that he's in my lineup every week anyway. I'm not taking him out because I do know that he will see that volume here at the tail end of the season. I'm totally in on Bijan turning it around. And instead of being like the first week, the first round bust that everybody is already labeling him as, with a strong finish here to the season, I think it's going to vault a lot of people up through their playoffs. And I'm in on Bijan.
Dude, in my biggest league, which to me is always my big hometown league that I've done for 20 years, took Bijan the first round, 7-5. Last week just put up the most points in the league. I need it. I need Bijan bad here. So I'm feeling good about it. And I'll tell you what, when people worry about rookies, the number one worry for rookie running backs is pass blocking. That's what takes these guys off the field. Bijan's had no problem with that. He plays virtually every pass play. So this guy's dialed in. We just need to keep getting the goal line carries and the goal line receptions. And during his last 6 tries, he's scored on 4 of them. So, I mean, why stop it if it's working? So, I need it. I'll give you one right here that I like.
Wait, before you do that, did you see Arthur Smith's quote about how Kyle Pitts is a big part of this team's offense? It's pretty sick, right? He said it, then he hopped into his DeLorean, he gunned it to 88, and he went into the future. So
what does he do?
I don't know where it's going to be, but
what does he do? Does he serve breakfast? What is he doing for this offense? He doesn't play. He doesn't play half the game, dude. What?
I don't
wish
get
you
it
weren't
either.
a liar.
Seriously, I mean, what the heck, dude? Does he do the laundry? A big part of the offense when he had two catches last week.
I don't know. I thought he was in a great spot last week, and he just didn't get used at all.
I'm telling you, he's the new Evan Ingram. He's the new Evan Ingram. Rookie year, had a good season. Now he needs to escape the coaching and the QB play. And then once he gets a new QB, just like Evan Ingram going to the Jags with Trevor Lawrence, we're going to look at it and be like, wait a second, this guy's good at catching the football. How is that? Where's this been the whole time? So It's only a matter of time. My guy here, I got a tight end for you. And I know you're a fan. He's always passed the eye test, especially before the game when he walks around with the crop top shirts. Is David Njoku, right? This guy, absolute
beautiful man. I gotta tell you, man, he's a gorgeous man. Like, you look at like DK Metcalf, and you're like, dude, that dude's chiseled top to bottom. Looks like, you look at Njoku, like same thing, but very handsome face,
right?
Too.
Yeah.
Looks glorious.
Yeah, that's right. Shame with the burns there. But I mean, like, talk about doing the laundry, dude. It's like Njoku got the washboard going there. Everybody's washing their girdles on that puppy. But besides the fact that he's an absolute monster, he with Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson was the guy that liked to push it down the field. He liked to scramble around. Only 5.2 targets per game with Watson. With these backups, 8.6 targets per game. And you look at the schedule for him. I've been dogging Dalton Schultz for his schedule. You look at his. He's got Jackson for playoffs. He's got Chicago, Houston, and the Jets, which the Jets are a difficult defense, but the one place he can beat him is over the middle. So Njoku is a guy that had a really rough stretch over the middle, hit the wire in a lot of leagues, but down the stretch here with a lot of moving parts, you got to be happy. And regardless of a quarterback, you got to be happy that Njoku is the one that is benefiting from the backups, even though our guy Amari Cooper is going to have a tough time. So Njoku, I think, down the stretch could prove to be really reliable.
I would love that. If like these targets, are you nervous at all? The PJ Walker, Dorian Thompson, Robinson, like who's quarterback? It doesn't really matter to you.
It doesn't. Yeah, I looked at it across the board. Like both of them like him more than Deshaun Watson. They both don't mind dumping it down. We would prefer DTR. DTR is the one, obviously, that threw him 15 targets. But last week, DTR got knocked out, and they both combined to throw him 9. So, yeah, no. Obviously, we'd rather have DTR, but it doesn't matter as long as it's not Deshaun.
All right, cool. I'm going to give you one more, actually. And this one's for you, Coop, because here you go. I'm such a nice guy. Ramondre Stevenson, right? How many times did you see look at that mug.
I'm listening.
I mean, listen, here, 21 carries last week, 20 carries the week before that. Bill Belichick has zero confidence in either quarterback, and you've seen that, and you know that. So in order to finish out this season and not look like a total schmuck, run the football. That's what you're going to see. I mean, listen, people were drafting Ramondre Stevenson. Like I saw him early on. He was in like the middle of the second round. Then he might have dropped to the early third round or the late second round. But that's where he was. And listen, he hasn't paid off that at all. And I mean, his usage has been terrible. His the quarterback situation, stacked boxes going up against him, terrible. But look at what we got coming up here for Ramondre Stevenson and the Patriots, right? Chargers this week. At the Steelers, you can run on the Steelers. Versus the Chiefs. That's a 20th ranked DVOA against the run, Kansas City. All right. How do you keep Mahomes off the field? You ground and pound it and get these long drives, sustained drives. The Broncos give up the most rushing yards per game coming up after that. The Bills, you can run on. And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, if you play in the Week 18 championship, the Jets don't stop the run. So the schedule for Ramondre Stevenson coming up looks fantastic. And if Bill Belichick is going to be screw it, just give this dude 20 carries a game and let's get the hell out of this season, I'm in for that 100%.
I'm down. He didn't have a single 100-yard scrimmage game, not even just rushing, 100 yards from scrimmage, so including the receiving yards. First 8 weeks, didn't have a single one. Last 3 weeks, 129, 102, 107. Wheels up, baby. Mondre time. So I'm in with you. And I just hope that they continue to lose. I need them to draft a quarterback.
All right, but that has nothing to do with fantasy relevance.
It has nothing to do with fantasy. Yeah. I just
keep your fandom in your hat. All right, come on.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk fantasy football here then. Let's talk fantasy football. And I know
I hate dealing with you Patriots fans. You're all so aggravating.
Go Celtics. Celtics and Bruins are awesome. Rex Timotheus in the chat said, I'm no longer a fan of Coop. You said you were now a Texans guy. LOL, hashtag Colts Nation. Yeah, Rex.
I think Coop's the greatest guy in the whole wide world.
Thanks, Spurs. Right? So you're not going to like this guy that I like here. You're also not going to like my guest on Friday for Coop's Fantasy Football Fiasco because this team's been hot lately. I'm bringing on Colby Conway, Texans fan, Fantasy Alarm member, a Fantasy Alarm writer. So we're going to get him in there. It's going to be awesome. But the guy that I like here down the stretch is a guy that in the early part of the season, we were looking at him and saying, wow, this guy's a wide receiver 1. In fact, for the first few weeks, he was like wide receiver 7. It's Nico Collins. And then he got a little banged up, had some tough matchups with guys like AJ Terrell, fell off a little bit. I've been talking about the schedule for this Texans team. I talked about it on the show before, but just to recap real quick, their playoff schedule was Titans, Browns, Titans. We're talking about the number 2 and 3 teams in DVOA against the run, and they unlike the Jaguars, they don't let up receptions to the running back. The Titans are dead last in that stat. They're also teams 1 and 2 against the tight end, but the Titans are like 28th in DVOA against the pass. You can throw all over this team. So Nico Collins, Tank Dell, maybe Noah Brown will come back. He'll probably mix with Robert Woods, but I think Nico Collins and Tank Dell down the stretch and CJ Stroud, the way that he's been playing, those are going to be your league winners. So Nico Collins, if you liked what you saw from him at the beginning of the season, I think we're going to get that back down the stretch here, man. And it's going to be Trebone.
Yeah, especially, just let everybody keep worrying about Tank Dell. Keep worrying about Tank Dell. You leave that Nico fella over there, right? I love that call.
It's so funny that it's like we're so obsessed with Tank Dell, and it's everyone Tank Dell 50 yards and a touchdown last week. Nico had 7 for 104 and a touchdown. Right? Nobody's like, oh, great game.
Nobody's talking about it
because his name's not Tank, dude. If he had a cooler name, if his name was like Pitbull Collins, then we'd all be going crazy right now. But his name's Nico, so Nico is kind of a cool name, but it's not Tank.
I got the old Pitbull bobblehead right
there. That's his new nickname, Pitbull Collins. Let's go.
Pitbull Collins, no doubt, no doubt. All right, so there you go. A couple of guys ready to turn their seasons around, ready to turn it up for you in the fantasy playoffs. We like Nico Collins, we like David Njoku, Bijan Robinson, Ramondre Stevenson. Before we get back to the chat, let's just shout out to our sponsors, Underdog Fantasy. Say hi to them. We'll talk about how great their pick'em contests are. Although they don't have their little gimme guy up there yet. I still don't see a half a total yard.
They got a basketball one up last I looked, but
see, well, we're specializing in football here. But hit this QR code or go to fantasyalarm.com/underdog. Use that promo code alarm. And you'll get an instant deposit match on your first time up to $100. So if they don't have their gimme one in there yet, Coop, we threw them 2 picks yesterday. Who you got today?
An old favorite of the show, Howard. A good buddy of this show, Mr. Lante Taylor. And again, I don't think that he's a bad player. I think he's a player that's playing out of position, right? Like it happens all the time with guys that play tackle, you move them to guard, they don't play as well. This guy is an outside corner. He told us at the beginning of the year he's going to be growing pains. He's not going to be talking as much trash because he's adjusting to the slot, right? And I think he's a fine guy, even if he doesn't like me on Twitter. But teams have been able to throw 2 players in the slot. This team coming to town this week is like the slot kings of the world, the short pass kings of the league, and the Detroit Lions, right? It's Amon-Ra, it's Sam Laporta, it's Jahmyr Gibbs. Alante Taylor is going to be very busy, I think. And 3 solo tackles are easy to get when you're a corner because it's just you one-on-one. You know what I mean? You're not getting involved in a lot of pileups and combined tackles. So I think 3 solo tackles, give me the higher on that one. Hit him with the slide, Burns.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I'm going to go to an old standby as well. Somebody who, I've been chatting up, talking about for some time. You've been all in on the Texans. Let's go to the other side of that game, dude, and give me Courtland Sutton, 52.5 receiving yards. I'm definitely going to say higher. Texans ranked 26th in DVOA against the opposing wide receiver 1. They're giving up an average of like 63 receiving yards per game to them. This is my guy. This is Courtland Sutton. He's the targets leader. He routinely produces game in and game out. Like 8 touchdowns in 11 games. He scored a touchdown in 8 of 11 games. And while no, that's not the prop here, The over on the 52.5 receiving yards, I think, is because I think the Texans are going to give that up to my good buddy Courtland Sutton, higher than 52.5 receiving yards, Burns.
And I'll tell you what, man, anyone that actually watched this game, the touchdown streak ended, but he got open in the end zone again, and the ball was on his hands, right? Those plays are tougher. Everyone thinks that it's so easy to do like a, running full speed and do like a toe drag catch because, these guys are so good. You see it all the time. He was very close to having another touchdown there. So Courtland Sutton, baby, you got to keep rolling with him. Keep rolling with him while he's hot.
Gonna keep doing it. So again, fantasyalarm.com/underdog, promo code alarm, or you can hit this QR code right here, right now, and get signed up over there. Play some pick'em contests with our friends at Underdog Fantasy. Back to the chat, Coop. Let's do it here. Fatty McFats is here. Happy Wednesday to you. We saw Rex Timotheus, Britt Flynn in the house. What's up, Britt? And Dunn making some roster moves. She needs to drop one. McKinnon, Gainwell, A.T. Perry, Pitts, Komet. I don't like dropping backup running backs. Perry would be the drop, but with injuries to Olave and Shaheed. Can I drop Pitts? He's done nothing. I think you can drop Pitts and just roll with Cole Komet. I really do.
Komet's on bye this week. So who's your if you have another tight end though? I know, right? The best laid plans of mice and men, Howard.
Who's the tight end on the waiver wire right now?
Juwan Johnson's on the wire. Start him, dude. Right. The thing with A.T. Perry is if you're not going to start A.T. Perry this week, then you don't need him, right? Like this is the perfect time to start that player. So if he's not in your lineup now, he probably never will be because Chris Olave, if he's going to miss the game, it's because of a concussion. Right. But usually those guys, knock on wood, when they come back, they just come back and play at the level they always played at. Right. It's a protocol thing versus like, it's not like a sore hamstring. Right. So as soon as Olave's back, it's going to be Olave. It's going to be Kamara. It's going to be Taysom Hill. If you're not starting A.T. Perry now, then you can drop A.T.
Perry. All right. Happy Wednesday, Chris B. Ethan Batterman again. Browns, Benders, Jets, Bucks, Rams, Chargers, defense this week. Dude, just stay with the Browns.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you just stay with the Browns? You don't have to keep swapping up defenses here. You're chasing touchdowns. And it's no good. It's really no good. The Browns rack up a ridiculous number of sacks. They have strong takeaways, good interceptions. The secondary is tough. Like, just do it. Stay with them. There's no reason to switch around.
Right, exactly. If this week they turn out that the entire defense was one guy, Myles Garrett, and they don't look as good because he's banged up or he's not playing, then I guess maybe we can make that change down the road. But there's no reason to go and make that move now. Just stick with the Browns.
Yeah. Aaron Levy asks, what's your take on running with a Lions stack, Goff, Gibbs, St. Brown for the rest of the season, or should I be looking at another QB on the waiver wire? I don't like over investing in one team in season-long fantasy. I just don't. Like, I'm fine pairing up a quarterback with a wide receiver, but when you start going with a quarterback and a running back, or a quarterback and a running back, or a running back and a wide receiver, they're counterproductive to each other. If one's going off, the other one ain't doing shit. So,
right. And what's messed everything up is best ball. Right. Because in the offseason, you see all these analysts and they're posting stuff and they're not telling you whether it's geared towards best ball or it's geared towards redraft or it's geared toward dynasty. Like, we need little symbols that we put in the tweets to say, we categorize what they are, but like, so they come out and they say, the success rate for stacking and advance rates for best ball are high because you're in these giant tournaments. Right. And obviously, if you have a stack and they hit all 3 weeks, bing, bang, boom, you're going to have the massive outcomes and this giant upside. But that's for tournaments. You don't need to have crazy, massive upside every single week to win in your regular league. What you need is consistency. And if you have a big 3-player stack like that, all you need is for the team to have one bad game, which we have seen them now have,
and then you're out.
And then you're done. So I do like to diversify a little bit if possible. I don't go out. I don't make it a tiebreaker or a difference maker, but if there is somebody better on the wire, let us know who's on the wire. The other thing for Goff, and I pointed this out on the show before, is that Goff is a bit of a fugazi to some degree in that when David Montgomery was out, he scored a couple goal line QB sneak touchdowns, which is not his MO. He doesn't run at all. He doesn't like doing that. But when Dave Montgomery was out, they were doing that. Now that Dave Montgomery's back, Jahmyr Gibbs and Dave Montgomery are playing rocks, paper, scissors, shoot to see who gets the touchdown. Like that part of that's done. Those weeks of rushing touchdowns for Jared Goff. I would bet my bottom dollar he doesn't have a single rushing touchdown moving forward.
I like the Fugazi reference there, right? Donnie
Hey,
Brasco, your friend of ours. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's right.
Robert Flores digging on the Grandma's Boy reference. I love Grandma's Boy. It's such an underrated flick.
I actually forgot we were talking about that, and I saw Burns's comment in the producer chat, and I didn't know what he was. I thought he just posted that, and I was like, "What is he talking?"
Chris B says the Jets won't win during practice. That is truth. Victor Omilis in the house here. 1 point PPR owner with Diggs asked if I would trade him for either Waddle, Keenan, or Ayuk.
Yeah, so with these trades, you have to be very careful this time of season. Victor, look at that guy's team and ask yourself if you want to help him or not. Because the reason he's trying to trade you Diggs is because Diggs is on a bye week and that guy probably can't lose this week, right? Yeah. That's what he's trying to do. Now, if that guy is probably not going to make the playoffs regardless, then I would see if you can just give him Ayuk and take Diggs and say thank you very much.
Give him Waddle. He said either Waddle, Keenan, or Ayuk.
Yeah,
Waddle.
Don't trade him Keenan. Yeah, Waddle or Ayuk, I would say. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, but like. You're getting a huge advantage, and we know why he's doing that trade. It's because he's trying to tread water.
Yeah, you know what? It's happening right now in the Kings Classic. Jim Coventry, had a rough season. Team didn't look good. They're eliminated from the playoffs, but he doesn't want to get relegated out of the top league, out of the Jim Brown league. And so what he's doing is he's sitting here and he's making all these trades. I was about to act on the DJ Moore for Cortland Sutton deal that he offered me, right? And I didn't, and then all of a sudden I get another email being like that he traded, DJ Moore for, somebody else.
Yeah.
Like somebody accepted it before I had the chance to do it, which, again, that's the reason that deal is happening.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and Jim's a smart player. That league is so funny, dude. Holy heck. That's the one. Is that the one where every team is 7-5? Is that one?
Yeah, in our auction league it is.
That's crazy. I've never seen that before.
Are we all 7-5 in that league?
Tompkins was showing me yesterday that the top 6 teams, there's a 6-way tie in first place at 7-5. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
For the auction league. Okay, let me go to it real quick here.
I think it.
Yeah, oh yeah, there it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams are all 7-5.
8 teams, dude. And then there's 2 more teams that are 6-6. It's like it's anyone's game. It's anyone's game right now. So Jim Coventry is probably just going to let somebody win.
Well, he's already eliminated. Dave Richard is sitting there on the bubble at 5-7. He was trying to get me to give him Sutton for like Jordan Love for a 1-week Band-Aid for me. I was like, no.
Scrapping. I want to get in on one of those leagues next year, but I'm going to do the FSG ones, but you guys make me cover them with the microphone. So
we don't make you do anything, Andrew.
Matt, I like covering those things.
You listen, that's fine. I'll happily cover it, and then you can compete for me. I'm one of those 7-5 teams sitting there right now.
Yeah, we'll see.
I also have the lowest points total.
That's not a good spot. You got to win.
What's really funny is that in the I've got the lowest points total, which isn't great, but again, this is going to be a matter of, because this is on ESPN, and we'll see where record versus points comes into play. I have to go back and read the rules on that one, but. In the other league, in the snake draft league, I'm 9-3, right? Me and Colby are tied at the top at 9-3, but I've got the 8th most points in that league. Also, something happened in the Kings Classic. I don't know what it was, but my team has just gotten like super scrappy, and we pull out those wins.
Scoreboard, dude. A lot of heart. I mean, you won with like Isaiah Hodgins in the FSGA last year, dude.
You never freaking quit. You
make it
never
happen, dude.
quit. Like that's just, I mean, people who sit there and get freaked out. So in my pros with Joe's draft, we started off 0-3, and my Joe was going bonkers. Like he was lighting me up on text. He was messaging me. He was freaking out about the waiver wire and what do we do for fab bidding and stuff. I'm like, dude, you need to just take a chill, deep breath, relax. 0-3 doesn't mean shit. And sure enough, Coop, where are we right now? We are the points leader by more than 100 points. And we sit in second place behind Stefania Bell, whose team can't lose for some reason. But we have like 150 points more than Stefania.
I got a good quote for that. Got a good quote for that. Charlie Munger, who actually passed away, made it to almost 100 years old. He's a investment guru that worked with Berkshire Hathaway. And he had a famous quote about talking about stocks, but it also applies to dynasty and redraft in that situation. He said, the big money is not in the buying and the selling, but in the waiting. If you're right about stocks, if you're right about players, the big money is in the waiting.
Yeah, I like it.
Charlie Munger quotes today, folks.
Little food for thought here on Alarm Fantasy Football.
A little food for thought, a little finance quotes for you guys.
All right, let's get back to the Q&A here. C-Free says, I know you guys hate when we ask about trades that already happened, but I got to be that guy. It's going to be that guy. Traded away Jamar Chase, Trey McBride, and Brian Robinson for Bijan, Purdy, and Lockett. Need Purdy for a buy.
If you have this is my answer to so many of these trades. If you have another good option at tight end, then it's a good trade. If you just traded away your only viable tight end, then I don't know. But the trade is fair on paper. And if you have another option at tight end, then I like it.
Chris B says he prefers the keep it simple, stupid method for the win. 100%, man. 100%. Oh, yeah. Everybody overthinks. Ann Dunn's got a kicker question with apologies, apparently. If I hold on to Tucker through his bye, I need to drop one of these. Roshan Johnson, Khalil Shakir, or Dallas Goedert. I feel like it's Goddard. I'm starting McBride. It's definitely Goddard.
It's Goddard, yeah. But you're gonna have to drop whatever kicker you pick up. Then you just turn around and drop him for a tight end to start next week during McBride's bye week, right? Exactly. So maybe it'll be Goddard. Who knows? But yeah. And see, I told you this would happen, Howard. The first guy's question, we get all over him, and now every question that's come in is like, sorry about having to ask you a question, but it's okay to ask us questions, folks. It's not a problem.
No, they're fine. It's not. Ann's apologizing because she's asking about kickers, and Ann knows that nobody wants to ask about kickers.
Kickers are part of the game, baby. Kickers are part of the game. You can ask me.
Seafree knows that like what's the point? Like you just want some hand holding on a trade that you just made. You're not asking for advice. You're asking for confirmation. So that's what it is. Listen, Coop. You've been answering questions for as long as I have. You know the path that they all take, and you just have to, it's like Sunday morning, right? We keep everybody in line. I have to shower them with a little tough love and say, don't thank us for taking your call. We know you're appreciative of it. Line up. You got to line everybody up. Everybody needs a little structure in their life, Coop, especially fantasy football owners. What is this, Discord? Come on.
There were no rules, right? No, yeah. And we're already having a good day. You don't have to ask us, right? Just let's get to the questions.
C-Free, who wanted the hand holding, said that he's got Tank Dell, Devontae Adams, Deontay Johnson. Oh, he's got Travis Kelce.
There you go.
Yeah.
Then yes. Great trade.
Easy peasy.
Good trade.
There you go. Do I trade Andrew Fish in the house? Do I trade Hurts, AJ Brown, if given the opportunity, scared they clinch the bye week and won't play in the rounds 2 and 3 of my playoffs?
Nah, they don't. Teams don't do that. I've never seen a team. I've seen a team sit out, week 18 in January, but teams really don't do that in week 17. I think that they understand that you have to have momentum as well. So teams really don't do that.
One of the reasons they also kind of loaded up the back end of the schedule with a lot of divisional games, because they want that, competitiveness.
That's how you get the Titans playing the Texans twice in the last 3 games, because they were like, you know what? But yeah, the Eagles play the Cardinals that week, the last championship week. So somebody's going to score points.
Yeah. I'll take Hurts and AJ Brown for 1 quarter.
Yeah. Joe Burrow,
Arizona.
That's literally what the Bengals did. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase scored 3 touchdowns, and then they were like, "All right, good game.
Yeah, we're gonna go sit down."
Yeah.
Anthony says that eggnog is fantastic.
It's so good. And here's the thing: every time I have it, I take that first sip of the eggnog before I put anything in it, and I think to myself, I don't even know if I want to put booze in this. Like, it's just so tasty.
Delusional thoughts from Fantasy Island.
I'll drink it straight. I don't need the booze in there. Absolutely.
It's so good. Yeah. So
dude, I'll take a bath in eggnog. I'd be fine with it.
Oh, that would be great.
C3 says, speaking of defenses, Brown's still good through the end of the season. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Britt says, is the big part in the room with us? The big part? I don't what were we talking about?
I don't know. That was we got behind on the chat. That was like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. All right. Chris B says that my ass is a big part of my body, but all it does is produce caca like Kyle Pitts.
I don't know what we were saying.
That's the big part. We were talking about the big part of the offense.
The big part of the offense. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Very nice.
All right. Up here. Yeah. Okay. Now it makes all sense with all of these big parts playing.
There we go. Yeah.
Is Joe Flacco playing? Not on my fantasy teams. Not even in Superflex.
It'd be good for Garrett Wilson though, but we're not going to put it. We're not going to start Flacco, but at least Flacco's willing to chuck the ball. So sorry, not for Garrett Wilson. It would be good for Amari Cooper. Is what it'd be good for.
Yeah. Ugh. All right. Would you trade Stroud, Jaden Reed, Kareem Hunt for Lamar Jackson, Zay Flowers, and Russell Wilson? I'd get my backup QB in case Lamar got hurt. Love Stroud, but he does have a fantasy playoff matchup versus that Cleveland defense.
No, you got to throw like the Stroud. Like you got to throw you got to try and throw on Cleveland, and you definitely throw on the Titans. So Stroud's schedule is actually awesome. Stroud is if I were to do rest of season rankings, I might have Stroud ahead of Lamar and Russ. Definitely ahead of Russ. But no, I'm just gonna keep Stroud. And
again, also, why do we want to tie into Lamar and Zay Flowers? Like, why do you have to pair guys up? Like, has Zay Flowers been so incredibly productive that you're like, this is like a lock pair? I gotta have it. I have Lamar in a couple of leagues, man, and it's cockapoo-poo.
Right. And we look for predictability, right? So when Zay Flowers receiving touchdown, yeah. Zay Flowers has a rushing touchdown, and he's not a guy that routinely gets like 2, 3, 4 carries. We're not talking about Deebo Samuel or even Curtis Samuel here. I'm not looking here and saying, no, yeah, Flowers going to have a rushing touchdown every week. Like rushing touchdowns for me, I just kind of throw them. I say nice, but I don't really factor them into my moving forward predictions, you know?
Britt wants to know if I prefer Cowboys fans or Patriots fans. I don't like any of them, and I don't have to like one more than the other. My hatred is equal.
You know what's funny? Cowboys fans and Patriots fans kind of have a behind the scenes bond. It's like the league of evil. Like I don't know why I get along with Cowboys fans. I get along with Saints fans as well. With the whole suspending guys. I don't know why it is. Are there any fans that you as a Jets fan, you can kind of like, are you guys like cool with like the Browns and the Lions and stuff?
No, I don't give a shit. I hate everybody. What does it matter? Nobody, like, that's the thing. Like, we can't be friends with like the Lions fans, because the Lions fans are like, oh, we're such a suffering franchise. We're so blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, like the Barry Sanders years were tasty, delicious. Maybe he didn't win the Super Bowl, but those were great years, right? To watch Barry Sanders, Calvin Johnson, right? Megatron walking out there. What do the friggin' Jets have? Like, stop. Like, I'm sorry.
Jets fans are just standing in the corner at the party in a leather jacket.
We just suck. Just leave
brooding.
us.
Just leave us alone.
Nothing.
You've got nothing. Nothing.
Well, anyone in the chat with your fandom, let us know if there's any team that you sympathize with. Jets fans clearly no, but Patriots fans, I get along with the Cowboys fans and the 49ers fans as well. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
Rams defense or Chargers defense? Let's stop. I gotta stop talking about the fandom because you're naming fan bases that just make my skin crawl.
I know. Well, apparently they all do. So
Rams or Chargers?
I have this week the Rams ahead against the Browns because their quarterback is going to be PJ Walker.
Yeah, and again, Chargers defense is horrendous, and they're just going to run all day with Ramondre Stevenson on them. So
That's just going to be. It's not going to be a conducive game to scoring points for anybody, really.
Yeah. Rocky Adams has got a little dilemma here, Coop.
What's he got?
Would you drop Jordan Addison for Dalton Schultz? My wide receivers are Olave, Chase, Wilson, DJ Moore, and Tank Dell. It's an 18 PPR league.
No, dude. Schultz's schedule is the worst. I've said it multiple times. There's only one schedule that could be worse than Dalton Schultz's. If Dalton Schultz's schedule was the three in the playoffs, the three best teams versus the tight end, that would be better than his schedule.
What if he's looking at just this week? It's an 8-team league, so yeah, I can't imagine that. Like he's like, I got to get Dalton Schultz to lock him in for good.
If it's about just this week, and then you're going to drop Schultz after, then yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Jack Sensen in the house. What's up, Jack? Love you
Jack?
too.
Yeah,
PPR, Laporta or McBride, Downs versus Brandon Cooks. Here we go.
Yeah, so I wanted to rank McBride ahead, and I currently have him ahead, but I actually am going to switch that because I'm worried about that matchup with the Steelers. So I'll go Laporta.
What about Downs versus Cooks?
It's full PPR. It's Downs, man. Downs got 12 targets last week.
Yeah. Britt says the matchup previews had Collins over Dell this week. Okay.
Ooh,
guys, check out the
Pitbull Collins.
Pitbull.
Let's go. There it is, dude.
Yeah. Definitely read those previews that Britt Flynn puts out when they're posted live. We'll tweet it all out for everybody. You definitely need to enjoy those. Jake S says trade Montgomery and Geno Smith for Tua and Breece Hall.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
It's an improvement. To me, it's an improvement at quarterback.
Yeah, it is. And Montgomery, yeah.
I think he's better than Breece. I just don't see. We talk about Breece Hall, and he's active in the passing game. Caught 7 passes last week, but he still had fewer than 55 all-purpose yards, and he didn't get into the end zone. So, all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, he's catching a couple of passes, but is that really what you're looking for?
Yeah, when you only have 2 good players, it's not hard for the defense to figure out what's going on.
Zone in. The Jets have 2?
Garrett Wilson is good.
Oh yeah,
I think he is.
I always forget. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Jeez.
All right. Gerald Joe says 1 point PPR. If I get Nico Collins off waivers in my flex spot, do I start Collins, Thielen, or Singletary? If not, do I start Thielen? Yeah, get Collins.
I'm starting Collins. I'm a little worried for Thielen with the QB change, but Singletary is the Broncos.
Did we QB change already? Is Bryce Young sitting
sorry,
on the
not
bench?
QB change. They fired the offensive coordinator and they fired
the
coach.
entire coaching staff.
They fired the entire coaching staff. Yeah. So the thing is, Thielen is the one you don't want change for Thielen. He was the guy getting all the looks.
Yeah,
I think you'd probably still start Thielen. This is probably your last week to start Singletary, though. To be honest, what would you do?
Now you just told him to start 3 different guys, Coop, and he asked you who you're starting out of these 3 guys.
All right, that's the show, everybody. Thank you for shouting. I would start Collins if you get him, and then if you don't, then start Adam Thielen.
There you go, people.
It's hard.
Oh, that's Jerry in Kona, Hawaii.
Oh, yeah. What up, Jerry? That's cool-tastic, dude.
Cool-tastic. I'm getting no trades tattooed on my knuckles. Yeah, Hal, that's actually probably a good. Oh, here we go. Grumpy sports fan. Juwan Johnson or Taysom Hill this week?
If it's any sort of PPR, it's Juwan. It's Juwan. He led the team in routes run. He got 7 targets last week. Michael Thomas is out. Rashid Shaheed's out. Chris Olave is in concussion protocol. Go with the targets.
All right. We got a rapid fire here. We are way behind on the chat. Are you ready, Coop?
Oh, yeah. I'm so good at rapid fire.
Yeah, well, work on it here.
Okay.
I need 2 wide receivers to stream. I nabbed Perry from the Saints. What's another wide receiver I could Adam, give us some options here. I can't tell you who to pick
Pop
up.
Douglas.
I don't
Pop
know
Douglas.
who's on there. All right,
Yeah,
Pop Douglas. There you go.
There you go, dude. Start Lynn Bowden. Just start both Saints.
With JJ coming back, would you drop Lockett, London, Sutton, or Addison? I've already clinched a playoff spot at 9-3.
Yeah, if you're not starting Addison now, you're definitely not going to start him with JJ coming back. So drop Addison.
There you go. Wicks or Hyatt rest of season? Trying to take a flyer.
Hyatt, baby. Hyatt.
Yep. Or I can drop Pitt's question. I have McBride and Komet. Need a move. Need to make a move to get somebody else. Yeah, drop Pitts. Gone. Lost JT right as Kyron came back. Need to win out. Kareem Hunt, come on down.
Got to do what you got to do.
Got to do what you got to do. Desperate times call for desperate measures. I acquired Kyron and gave away Chase at the end of week 11. Just got Moss off the waiver wire. Would you plug in as a flex out of Singletary, Harris, Downs, Ford, or Higgins?
I like Josh Downs still. 12 targets.
I like Josh Downs, yeah. Yeah, I would do that too. Would not be afraid of Najee Harris. I do like the Steelers matchup here against Arizona.
Yeah, good one.
So I'm good there. Let's see. My largest points league. I'm 450 out of first. I could totally make that up, right? Yeah, sure. 450, Hal. Of course.
Not a big deal, Hal.
All right, kicker talk. Let's see. Should I start DK Metcalf or James Conner full point PPR?
I'm starting James Conner against the Steelers. The one thing you can do on him is run.
There you go. More eggnog talk. Give Pacheco in a 2026 first for Fields and Dynasty Superflex. Not in it this year. Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I'm starting to worry if Fields is going to be the quarterback next year.
He'll be the quarterback somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Quarterback's too valuable. Go for it.
Yeah. Let's see. Aaron Levy. First, thanks for taking my question about the Lions stack. Don't stop thanking us. These are some of the QBs available. Love, Mayfield, Carr, Minshew, Stafford. To diversify thinking, Love here for my playoff run.
I Love has kind of been heating up, man. I kind of like the way things are going for him. I don't mind Mayfield either. Carr, I'm worried about.
I don't mind Stafford, dude. Like
that's true. Yeah.
Dude threw for 3 touchdowns last week. Don't mind that at all. So yeah, you've got some good options there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Love, Stafford, good with either one of those. Then you can look to Mayfield. I'm a Panthers fan. No one likes us. No one cares. That is true. It's not that we don't care. It's that we just don't like David Tepper and want to get rid of him. You should listen to the Fantasy Alarm Show today on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. I am writing my love letter to David Tepper.
Oh boy.
Look at that. All right. Who's more cheeks, Charbonnet or Madison?
I think Madison, man. Madison's gotten every goddamn opportunity to be good. At least Charbonnet hasn't really gotten a chance yet.
And then Grumpy Sports Fan wants to wrap it up with what do you think of Jaylen Warren rest of season?
He's a player.
He's a player. You know what? Since Coop's going to cop out like that, I will say I actually like Jaylen Warren. I like the fact. So here's the dichotomy of what you're dealing with right now is that Eddie Faulkner, the running backs coach, is the offensive coordinator, but the QB coach, Mike Sullivan, is calling the plays. So the two of them, like Faulkner is a huge Najee guy. Sullivan just wants short, high percentage passing for Kenny Pickett to keep improving on his accuracy and working on that front. So they're kind of going up against each other, which to me says that I see a repeat of this 50-50 split that we just saw this past week. Jaylen Warren's going to get in on the action for the pass catching. So if it's PPR in any format, Jaylen Warren, I'm definitely good for him. In this state of the running back world in which we live right now, guys like Najee and Jaylen Warren, who are both sharing the role, all right, are perfectly fine because they're both getting a decent number of touches. Like there are no bell cows anymore.
And I will contribute something here. The schedule goes Cardinals, Patriots, Colts, Bengals, Seahawks. And you just pointed out this week, Seahawks, 14 touchdowns running backs against Seahawks?
Yeah. I posted that in your guys' chat the other day.
Yeah, give me half that backfield. I don't care which half.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So that's going to do it for us here, folks. Big thank you to everybody for tuning in, as always. I'll be on the Better Sports Betting Show with Dan Servadidio. So if you're trying to think about, if you're wondering picks against the spread, you can come check us out over there. And then, I don't know, Coop, you're going to be on another billion shows in the next day and a half?
No, I'm good. I'm doing snap counts article, hanging out in Discord for the rest of the day. Tomorrow, I gave my schedule yesterday. Watch yesterday's show if you want my schedule. It's too long.
Go.
We're out.
Coop, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much, everybody. For Andrew Cooper, our producer, Brian Burns, I'm Howard Bender. This has been Alarm Fantasy Football. We will catch you next time.
Adios, turd nuggets. Please get on top of me.